Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the SLDC Board of Directors board meeting on August 15, 2024. Seems like we have a quorum, so let's call the meeting to order at 8 a.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Director Arnold?
He's on mute. There he is. Go ahead.
Okay, Director Arnold?
Here.
Okay. Director Gilbert?
Here.
Director McBride?
That was a here.
Okay. Director Sean Smith
Present.
and Director Reed? And Chair Richardson?
Present. Did we recognize Director Gilbert?
Director Gilbert?
Here.
Thank you, Director Gilbert.
Okay.
Can't leave out the most important people starting off the meeting. No, now.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. No, I just wanted to make sure you're recognized this morning. So the first item on the agenda for today's meeting is the approval of the minutes from the July 18, 2024 regular scheduled board meeting that was held via Zoom. Any questions, comments to the minutes? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a first.
So moved.
Now,
Yeah, thank you. I have a motion and a second. The initial motion was made by Director McBride and second by Director Arnold. With that, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Arnold?
yes.
Director Gilbert?
Aye.
Director McBride?
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer?
Abstain.
Director Reed?
Aye.
And Chair Richardson?
Aye. With all voting aye and one voting present, Director Spencer, thank you. We have a approval to approve the minutes. So the next item on the agenda is the resolution number 24 SLDC 959, approving updates to the certification and compliance rules for the City of St. Louis Minority and Women Business Enterprise Program. With that, I'll pass it over to our Senior Vice President of Economic Empowerment, Ms. Stacy Fowler.
Chairman Richardson, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Board of Directors. I have before you a resolution to approve the updating of the certification and compliance rules for the City of St. Louis Minority and Women Business Enterprise Program. As the board is aware, we have basically pulled the certification program back in-house. And by ordinance, we are the individuals that have been tasked with developing the rules and how that program is to progress. And in that process and in the rules that I hope everyone had an opportunity to review and look at, we still had the airport information in there. We talked about the BDD. So basically we went through the rules and updated it and scrubbed it so that it would actually have SLDC's information in there. I will make note that it does also have the compliance rules in there. We really didn't touch the compliance rules too much unless it had BBD in there saying that they would do something with the compliance department. That will be coming in a couple of months as we start addressing the King's disparity study that they made some recommendations, some things that we need to change. So with that being said, the changes that really that I guess I want to point out to you that will stick out is that we have put in what we're calling an expedited program in terms of, we kind of have a backlog and we have quite a few individuals that want to be certified. So we figured the expedited program would allow us to move some of the companies that are sitting in the pipeline waiting according to the structure of the business. So if they're a solopreneur individual, they would be going down one track, and then our more complicated business structures, we will be doing them kind of simultaneously so that we can hopefully move more people through the pipeline. The other thing that we put in is, I never really kind of realized this until I looked at the rules. I did not realize the airport never had the businesses produce identification to prove that they really are who they are. So we put that in there to basically, you got to bring us an ID. And then we also put in the rules that any city entities that would be trying to be certified would have to be in good standings with their taxes in terms of the city. So those are probably the major changes of the rules. We did send you the red line so that you could see the changes that we actually made. So today we are asking you to approve our rules so that we will have them in place as we get ready to roll this process out on September the 3rd. Thank you. Questions for me?
Director Sean Spencer, I recognize your hand.
Thank you. That was some really enjoyable reading late last night.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Stacey, for putting that on my bedside.
We tried to liven it up for you a little bit.
I have to say this, I'm excited about it moving to SLDC. Just a couple of things. The expedited application is something that I've heard from a lot of contractors. And, by the way, yeah, I sit on SLDC's board, but I'm also a customer because we do have a $21 million project up in Bevo Mill. So I'm going through this. I want to compliment Stacey and her staff, especially Marla Roach, for her communication. They've been nothing but supportive and helpful. So it's been a great experience for me so far. But we know we need to get more people on these jobs. So when you look at the expedited application process, there's two questions. One, how much faster do you think you could process those applications? Is there a time frame or goal for approving? And then number two, is there a specific type of minority contractor that you are trying to help with the 5 criteria that you set forth in the Part 3, Section D?
On everything. So I'll be honest and transparent about this, Mr. Spencer. We're probably never going to get an elevator minority. It's not going to happen. And then there are some other specialty items and things that are provided that we have no participation in, like pools and some other things like that. So we're always going to be on the hunt for that. I don't think that's going to happen. But, as we looked at the backlog and how many of the individuals were just solopreneurs or just startups who want to be in the space, they were kind of caught in between people that have trust, and there's 4 or 5 owners, and you're trying to determine who's controlling the business and what is, so in terms of our criteria, we just want to move people. We want to get, because we have, SLDC got 15 projects of our own. So we know we need more people, and people want to get through the process.
Right.
So we set a little standard for ourselves. For those expedited folks, we want to get them done in 60 to 90 days or less. If we can do that, that's our time frame. And honestly, if everything is in a row and their ducks are in a row, we're here to kind of help them at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center and get them through that process, help them understand what they need to do. So when it's time for them to come before the PRC and the review committee, they have all their ducks in a row.
Right. Okay, that's good information. In fact, that was part of my second question, was with some of the challenges in certain areas of a project. It looks like you're highlighting or prioritizing in the good faith effort review that contractors know that in a certain category, you're going to have a bunch of people to be able to choose from. And you want to make sure that they're targeting those parts of the construction as a priority, because you can help fill some of those parts of the
And I
job.
will say that Paula and the team, we're very intentional because we meet with each of the GCs monthly on all the projects that we're responsible for monitoring. When we're in those meetings, when they tell us their challenges, they tell us their issues, good faith starts at that point when we're being very transparent and honest with each other. And then the recommendations that we make to them, or we try to help them identify individuals that might be able even to do the work for them. They might not be certified, but if they give them the opportunity, that puts them on that track so that we can certify them. And we look at that as good faith.
Thank you. I just have one other point, a general comment. This is a very complicated process for a lot of subcontractors. We have there's just a lot on their shoulders. Some people just want to be able to do the work and not have the compliance and deal with the software and deal with the management of those larger projects. So continuing to work with the smaller contractors, providing access and capital, especially bridge loans for these smaller companies that want to get larger. I'm seeing, HUD reimbursements take 2 or 3 months. Smaller contractors can't absorb that without having some access to capital. I know SLDC knows this and that they're working on some of the stuff to alleviate that pain and to help. And then the last thing I'll continue to harp on is that $1 million cap to have a tax abatement and to go through this process is too low. We're getting $250 to $300 square foot pricing on new construction. So that means a 4,000 square foot 4-family building, we would have to comply, with the WBE certification, and that's very challenging. I think that's hurting smaller developments. So just something to keep on your radar and everybody's radar.
So noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the directors here today? Director McBride.
Thank you. With taking SLDC, taking this in-house, what's the expected resolution of the backlog?
So the process that you want me to answer that? Or you want to?
No, please move forward, Stacy.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Okay,
Okay.
so the process that we are working in tandem right now with the airport, their contract, even though everybody knows this is coming in-house, we've given them to the end of this year, December, to cure the backlog. So on June 21, we stopped taking new applications through this transition period. During this time, anyone that wanted to submit an application, they basically have been sent to the center, and we've kind of been working with them and preparing them for when we go live on September the 3rd. But anyone in the pipeline that had already started their process, started their application with the airport, they have until the end of the year to cure the backlog. So we kind of stopped incoming so that we could really assess what that looks like. And they have about, the last time I looked at the system, I think we had anywhere between 150 to 230 applicants that they're working on right now. So we will be simultaneously working. They will be doing their backlog because they have those folks in and assigned to the staff there at the BDD, and we will be taking over the new applicants going forward as of September 3rd.
Okay. Thank you much.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 959.
So moved, Spencer, Sean.
Second, McBride.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Karen Spencer,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye, the motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 959 is approved. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 24 SLDC 960, adopting a short list for legal services procured by the City Council's office. I'll pass it over to Mr. David Meyer for the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. This resolution would adopt a short list that has actually already been previously established by the city councilor's office that undertook the procurement process a little while back. As you know, the city councilor's office does provide legal support for most activities that SLDC and the agencies it supports undertake when legal support is necessary. But occasionally we have found it necessary to seek outside support. Over the years, SLDC and some of the other boards have established short lists of varying lengths of time since they were last established. This short list, since it was just procured by the city councilor's office for everything that you could possibly think of, recently would supplant anything that we had previously. And so it freshens our list and would be used going forward. We don't actually have any legal services we anticipate needing to procure right now. This is just to get a short list in place so that we can draw from it as the need arises. And we will likely be taking this to a couple of the other boards that also have occasional use for legal services as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Director Gilbert, I recognize your hand.
Thank you. This isn't a very short list.
It is not a very short list.
It's not a very short list. It's pretty comprehensive. I mean, who did we leave off? It sounds like we got quite a few law firms on here as a possibility.
Based on what I understood, the city councilor's position was that they felt that if a firm was qualified, they would be qualified to be on the list. So I don't actually believe that they did any eliminations based on the applications they received. I should add, I was not involved with the process. I just received the information from them. But the minutes of their meeting indicate it looks like they accepted everybody who appeared to be qualified to provide the type of service.
Okay, and so this is their list, so the typos and the question mark is theirs?
That is verbatim.
Will we fix that before we adopt it, or I mean, we're adopting using somebody we don't know if they can do it or not? There's a question mark under Carmody McDonald.
We can delete that item, or we can leave it as it was provided.
You know that, and then next row, there's a typo under land use on Armstrong, Teasdale. I hate it that when we put things out in public and it has that kind of error. They want to know what else is wrong. So I would say we fix it.
I think that would be easily done since we'll consider those typos.
Thank you.
So David, is the recommendation or Director Gilbert is to pause on this and bring it back to the special board meeting when we rectify the typos?
I mean, we can consider the typos to be typos and fix them now, and it does not require a motion. We will just change the T to a Y, and we will change the question mark to, I'm sure, a yes, because I do know the types of services that they provide.
And so, David, just for clarity for the public and for the board as well, even though we have this short list, before SLDC would engage with these additional legal services, from SLDC perspective, we would bring any contracts to the board unless it's related to kind of real estate transactions. Of course, that would go to a closed session through our other development boards. But for the purpose of our SLDC board, any contracts that we enter into for services with these entities would still have to come before the board for approval, just to confirm that for us.
That is correct to the extent that they are above the procurement amount that's been delegated to you.
Correct. Which is $20,000.
Correct.
Correct. So any other questions or concerns with the current resolution? And thank you, Director Gilbert, for your keen eye, as always. Okay. Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SODC 960.
So move Gilbert.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Director Arnold,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Karen Spencer,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Abstain.
Director Sean Spencer,
Director Sean Spencer, you there?
Oh, aye.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, didn't go through.
Director Reed,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all present voting aye,
Abstained.
oh, I'm sorry. We have one abstention
I
from.
believe my firm may be listed on that.
Gotcha, yes. that's
Not so
correct.
short list.
That is correct.
Thank you for the abstention, Director McBride. With that, with the majority of the directors present today voting aye, resolution number 24 SODC 960 is approved. So that's the two resolutions that we had for today. We will be holding a special board meeting on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, to accommodate the additional businesses that we have met with and evaluated for approval through the North St. Louis City Grant Program. So we look forward to bringing forth more resolutions. Our goal there is to ensure that the board has sufficient time to review any additions and revisions to that list with the clear rationale, but then also to ensure that we hold board meetings in a timely manner in order for funds to be accelerated and deployed to these North St. Louis businesses. We will provide a full update on the North City Grant Program in just a second. But before we do that, I wanted to give everyone here on the board a quick update on the Cleanup Build Up Program in partnership with the Regional Business Council and highlighting our Peace Park initiative. So Laura, do you want to give a few comments before we roll the video?
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to set a little context first before you see the short video. And I'm sorry, my video's not working well. Cleanup Build Up is a partnership that's really led by Regional Business Council and the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. And it happens in partnership with SLDC and the City of St. Louis. And these are community cleanup events that usually happen two to four times a year. Kind of moved all over the City of St. Louis, going back to probably 2018. They typically focus on about 4 to 6 blocks, vacant property cleanups, and alley and public way cleanups. And Regional Business Council, as you may know, is a membership of our region's largest businesses. So they're really bringing the people power. You have construction companies, utility companies, standard businesses, all volunteering their time, energy, and equipment to this. And then you have the City of St. Louis bringing multiple departments, forestry, of course, streets, providing dumping assistance. You have building division out doing board ups, neighborhood improvement specialist, it goes on. And SLDC's role is to kind of be in the middle of all of those players and help with logistics and data analysis, help define the properties that we're going on, make sure we have permission and authorities to do what we're doing, and keep everyone kind of coordinated in those efforts. So I just wanted to set that up. And this video also touches on Peace Park, which is another initiative of SLDC called Green City Coalition, but we won't dig too deep into that today. But this is an overlapping of 2 partnership efforts that SLDC is involved in. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Laura. I'll pass it over to our teams at Candid to key up the video.
I have it.
Okay, you got it. Go ahead, Celise. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been here 11 years in this place here. 11. And I ain't seen nothing in between them 11 years to today. I mean, nobody care about nothing down there. I found so many bad things that's happening down here in this neighborhood. Now, for somebody to come out here to actually do this is a blessing, man. This is a blessing.
We're here today at the cleanup build-up where all of our member companies are here supporting this effort in changing the community. At the Regional Business Council, we hear about things that are going on in the community that needs improvement, and that's what we're here to do, help improve the community.
This is cleanup build-up, block builders version, where we're working with major utility companies to come in and lend their muscle as we try to cut down trees and cut back brush and make the neighborhood safer.
My plan for my neighborhood is to uplift it and put it back to its original beauty and bring the people together. And, you know, stuff like this is inspiring, it's motivating, and it gives me hope for my neighborhood.
We do multiple cleanup buildups every year. The steps for planning for an event like this start with the end of the last event. Our last one was early May in the Wells Goodfellow and Hamilton Heights neighborhood, May 5th. We hosted 3 meetings with the Neighborhood Association to talk about priority areas within the College Hill neighborhood, and hosted 2 walkthroughs where the companies and the neighborhood participated to really keep narrowing down the scope of work for the day.
You all know the importance of events like this and how much they mean to our community. I grew up just down the street from here and went to school just down the street from here. And so it is important that we move with intentionality, and my administration is moving with intentionality to make sure that we are paying attention to neighborhoods and blocks that have not been paid attention to for decades, and putting the money where our mouth is.
Bringing everybody together to complete phase 1 of Peace Park. It's the first of 3 phases. We're installing benches for people to sit on. We're installing bike racks. We're installing some pretty state-of-the-art exercise equipment. So not just pull-up bars, these are Stairmasters and chest presses. The kind of the end of phase 1 is amphitheater seating. So we're putting in wooden tops for the amphitheater seating. People are helping out with weeding, picking up trash. So kind of all sorts of things. But at the end of today, phase 1 will be almost complete, which has been many years in the making.
I'm here today because I'm passionate about Peace Park. I want to see it thrive, and hopefully if it thrives, maybe the city will help revise the water tower and the surrounding area around the water tower. And hopefully it'll bring back the spirit of the residents that's over here.
My dad is smiling down. When I tell you guys, I mean, I can feel it. I can feel his smile within me, because he is looking down at this and he is just so grateful and rejoicing because his vision is alive. It's alive. His legacy is alive.
Thank you, Celise, and thank you again, Laura, for your leadership and partnership and community. It means a lot. You do a lot of great work with many organizations, neighborhood associations, CDCs across the city of St. Louis, and really being able to drive these important partnerships for SLDC and working to really rebuild our community and our city. So I just want to give you a special shout out or special recognition, Laura, for your hard work. So thank you again for all you do.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. They're a lot of fun. So
yeah. Thank you. So the next item on the director's report, is the North St. Louis Grant Program update. I'll pass it over to Lorna Alexander because I know she has been meeting with hundreds of businesses that are getting funded, but also meeting to learn more about their evaluation of their scores and understanding the process in which we evaluated and assessed their applications. So I'll pass it over to Lorna to give a quick update.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Good morning, Board of Directors. We do have some exciting news to report this morning. Monday, we had a grant agreement signing session for the 55 businesses who received expansion awards and had both had a past viability assessment, approved viability assessment, and were cleared through the collector of revenue and the license collector's office. of the 55 businesses that were invited. There were 2 sessions of about 26, 27 each. At the beginning of the sessions, we presented with a PowerPoint to take the businesses through the journey they've gone through. We know there's a lot of frustration. So we began with the journey for them and then for SLDC ourselves, and then went all the way through the scoring process and how they got to where they were. Some of the issues we had to deal with on a continual basis with incomplete applications and trying to ensure that we could get as many businesses into the process and to receive funding. So I think after each of the presentations, there were a few questions, but I think overall the businesses came away understanding that, you know, this was unprecedented. It was the first time that SLDC and the city of St. Louis had a grant of this size, and the number of businesses that we were trying to assist, and us doing everything that we could, having stumbling blocks for sure, but they were successful in making it to that point. So with that said, we had grant agreements signed for a total of $1.1 million, and they will be processed within the next 10 business days to get the deposits into the businesses' accounts. Along with that, we have about 81 businesses who are awarded expansion grants or still had not had their viability assessment completed. And so Morgan Graves is currently working with those businesses. They're completing about 40 viability assessments each week. We will assess those reports, run the CBI clearance on those 81, and then invite them in for a grant agreement signing. There are still quite a few businesses who have not passed CBI. So we're in the process now of trying to identify all of them and provide some assistance to them on how they can get to the point where they too could sign a grant agreement and get their funding. While all of that's going on the operational expansion side, on SVP Knuckles side, he is meeting one-on-one, debriefing the community enhancement businesses, anyone who wants a debriefing of their scoring and their application review. You know, we funded approximately 45 businesses, so there were about 180 businesses that were not successful on that side. So working with Candid, a communication went out with a link to Lance's calendar, and I think he's almost booked up through October with one-on-one debriefing sessions where he's sitting down with the businesses individually almost every day over at the Empowerment Center. His team is also going through the next steps with the successful community enhancement and facade businesses. So they're meeting with them to tell them what the next steps are as far as requiring 3 bids for the facade improvements. There's going to be a contractor meet that Stacy and her team have set up so that contractors can meet with the businesses, and the businesses can help them with the selection of a contractor to bring their project to fruition. So a lot's going on. We're excited about it, and hope to be able to continue to report good news to you.
Thank you, Lorna. That was an outstanding update. And as you mentioned, our responsibility right now is to make sure the businesses are getting clear communication, right, moving forward, and having access to staff members to be able to respond to their questions directly. As Lorna mentioned, she's been meeting with businesses one-on-one. Mr. Knuckles has been meeting with businesses one-on-one. We've had other staff members over at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center available to meet directly with each applicant, walk through their scoring. It's important that as we move through this process, that we provide that clarity of how projects were assessed, applications were assessed and evaluated, and how decisions were made. So again, thank you, Lorna, for your leadership on this great work here. And like you said, this unprecedented program. And Lorna, I think you've also mentioned next week. Do you want to give a quick update on what's coming next week for the board so they can be prepared to review and provide any feedback to the list that you'll be bringing forward?
Right. So what we have found in doing the one-on-ones, especially on my side, on the operational expansion side, that as we go through the scores, we may have, as I mentioned before, these applications, some of them have touched 10 different hands between SLD's different staff, different departments, our neighborhood managers, our partners, Grow America, Morgan Graves. And so when we go through the one-on-one, sometimes we see things that are an oversight. Things like maybe the business did submit a budget, but it wasn't pulled down out of the 4,000 emails we received with documentation and put in the correct file. So any oversight that we're taking responsibility of. And for those oversights, we are rescoring the applications to include if there was missing documentation and the business could support that they submitted by the deadline. And we've convened what we call a little inner reconsideration committee. It's made up of my compliance staff. We meet once a month. We pull the files in, any additional information or support that the business provided, and then we make a determination if it's sufficient for them to be reconsidered, rescored, and if successfully scored, then the list will be revised and presented to you for approval. So that list will be provided at the special meeting along with anything on the community enhancement side if they've made some reconsideration decisions as well. That reconsideration process is a little bit more detailed. Lance does the briefing initially, and then it goes through the score. There's 3 phases of scoring on that side. So it's not a matter of, yeah, you should have gotten 5 points and you got a passing score like on the operational expansion side. Their applications are reviewed a second time with any information that might have been left out.
And so board directors, I wanted you to be aware and hear that directly from Lorna. So when we send out the list, our goal is to get the list out to you all before 5 p.m. on Monday with any revisions and the rationale for those revisions, so you can understand that process. And then also, as for the larger grants, we'll again be sure that we provide you all with clear updates around how those determinations and decisions were being made as we fund those projects too. Because I know there were some questions and some clarity that was needed and requested by the board and also by the public. So we'll make sure that those things are communicated directly to the board prior to those funds being deployed. So just wanted to give you all that quick update to be prepared for next week. So I'll move to the next item on the open agenda, which is to save the date for this certification celebration. I see Alderwoman Kara Spencer's hand. Did you have a question or comment, Alderwoman Spencer?
Thank you, Director. I did have a quick question just on the previous agenda item.
Yes.
Regarding the sort of decision-making process on revisiting some of these, the Northside grant program. Have we also been meeting with the folks that have not received any of the funding? I mean, I know there's a very active group of business owners that, have been critical of the process and other aspects of the program. And I think it's really important to engage with those folks and to hear their concerns and, see if there's a way to address them and, fund some of the other businesses outside of this or whatever that looks like, but at least, be engaged with that group of business owners. And I would look to Lorna. She was kind of discussing her outreach, if that was part of that outreach, and if we're going to continue to not only do that through this process, but ongoing. I mean, we clearly have a lot of need in North St. Louis, especially in the business community that is not going to be addressed with this funding.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment, Lauren, then I'll pass it over to you. Alderwoman Spencer, you are correct. I mean, there are I think we have a list of 168 businesses approximately that were unsuccessful either through the community enhancement or the operational expansion programs. One or both of those programs they were unsuccessful in. We have offered the opportunity for every one of those businesses to go through a debrief to understand their scoring process. And that's what Lorna was explaining around the ability for them to be reconsidered. But then in addition to that, I have myself personally have been engaged with the group of businesses that have voiced their concerns. And again, my continued message is we had a limited amount of resources, but to your point, Alderwoman Spencer, there is a high need. So as we look at resources that we have, whether it's through this program, maybe even some administrative savings that we have here or other funds through other operational dollars that we have at SLDC, even finding ways to support those small businesses is something that I am definitely exploring. The one thing that I wanted to ensure is that we have a fair and equitable process as we are deploying federal resources and we have a clear path forward there. And we don't create any unfair advantages, but also we believe in our process. We have faith that our scoring system was fair and equitable. So it's not really about us going back on our score or our process. I have faith in that. But this process had been very lengthy, several years of back and forth in partnership with the Board of Aldermen to ensure we got this correct from a legal standpoint, but also from a compliance standpoint. Because the last thing that we want to do with this program is to have it claw back in any way, shape, or form. But as I spoke to briefly, it is important for us to find ways to engage with these communities in an ongoing manner, and then also ensure that they are aware of the additional resources that are out there. Recently, CDA just put out a new NOFA for funding availability, and one of those opportunities is through the facade program, and we've had significant businesses that have applied for a facade that were not successful. And so that's one example, but then also those businesses that need maybe more grant writing support, other technical assistance support, trying to find ways to provide resources for them to be successful in that way and get resources they need moving forward. So that's our goal there. I do want to recognize Director Gilbert's hand, and then Lorna, I'll pass it over to you to clarify or add any additional context.
Yeah, my question is, we obviously see that there's a huge need. The amount of applicants really, reflects that, I think. What are we doing internally as far as searching for additional funds for SLDC? Do we have a grant writer? Do we have somebody who is prospecting for more money? I know individual organizations and groups are doing that, but what are we doing?
Yeah, so we are definitely doing that. We are working in partnership with our St. Louis Community Foundation through our Economic Development and Transformation Fund to go out and raise more money for the philanthropic community. I am in continuous conversation with CDA, with the administration around additional resources that we could bring to support the small businesses in this program, one, but then two, there is a significant need across the entire city for our small businesses, specifically facade, and some updates to their programs and their restaurants and salons and other amenities that support our community. So we are working on our end. I personally take this on to go out and work with my philanthropic partners, work with the administration to identify additional resources. One thing that I would ask from this board is, as before we make those decisions, obviously I would want to bring that before you, and with hopefully your support too on identifying those resources to again, allocate to these businesses to build their capacity because they are the lifeblood and backbone of our community. So I'm working hard on that, Laura, and my team is working to uncover every stone and turn every stone over to make sure that we identify those resources.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director, I'm sorry, Lorna, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of breezed through our debriefing process, but I want to take this moment to recognize our senior VP, Lance Knuckles, who's taken on the commitment of meeting with each of the unsuccessful businesses one-on-one by himself. He wanted to be sure that he would be able, with his experience and his knowledge of economic development, to be able to sit down with the business, go through their application with them, and give them pointers on where they might have fallen short with their responses, and giving them some pointers to what they could do better in the future. So we are taking their concerns very seriously, and Lance is spending a lot of his days meeting with them individually to ensure them that our process was fair and equitable as we could make it, trying to reach as many businesses as we could, and what they could do for themselves in future applications for grant funding. So we are, and I just want to give that shout out to Lance, because it's 168 businesses that he's opened his very busy schedule up to meet with 4 days out of the week to give them some feedback on their application.
And again, as we get additional feedback from the businesses, it's important for us too at SLDC to hear the businesses out and understand, where some of the confusion and lack of clarity was, but also how can we improve the process, the program, and our priorities moving forward. Because as I've went out and visited some of these businesses and seen their projects, and these are not businesses or projects that have been going on for 2 or 3 years. These are, 5, 10, 15, and even 20-year projects that people have been working on over the last couple of decades. And they see this as an opportunity, as we're investing resources in North City, for them to beef up their capacity so they can be ready for the new development opportunities that are to come to their area and neighborhood. So we're going to do all we can to continue to identify resources to support these businesses, and also support all businesses across the city, because that's our goal and our mission at SLDC. So thank you again, Lorna, for your hard work too. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you.
Thanks. So the next piece is the Save the Date celebration for our certification program that will be held at the NEEC. Stacy, you want to give a quick highlight?
Sure. So since we have paused applications since June 21 of this year, on September the 3rd, we are kicking it off. We want everybody to know we are back. We're rolling forward. It's going to start at 1 o'clock. It's not going to be a big deal, but what we're going to do in this transition, we've been working with about maybe 10 to 20 applicants who want to be certified. We've invited them to come and be one of the first applicants to put their information in the system as a way to let everybody know this is a kickoff. It's here. You can come Monday through Friday and start the process. We're going to start at 1 o'clock. Mr. Richardson will be here, and we're going to be in our computer lab. We're going to make sure everybody can do what they need to do to get people to know that this process has started. If you would like to come, we're going to have, as they say, we're going to have cookies and punch. Come on through and see how we're doing it, just to let people know that this is what's going on. So please come if you're available. It won't be long. It's not going to be something drawn out. It's going to be, as they say, quick and dirty, because we got work to do. So once we do that, we will be working with people going forward. So yes.
So Stacy, thanks again for your leadership on the certification program. As we know, this again is critically important to helping our small businesses be successful And step one, I say, is to get the certification, then be part of that ecosystem for opportunity. So.
Oh, I forgot one thing. So we are called Certified STL. And so thanks to Candid, they're working on our branding. You'll see our logos, you'll see all the new stuff. We'll even have buttons that say, ask us how to get certified. We got a whole campaign we're getting ready to roll out. So there you go. Thanks.
Thank you, Stacy. So again, we know we do a lot of great work here at SLDC, and the majority of the board resolutions that we bring forward, some of our agendas and meetings are 5 to 7 resolutions long, and there's a lot of hard work that happens behind the scenes to prepare us for these meetings and to continue to move this work forward. And that's being recognized not just internally but externally. And so I want to make sure we recognize 2 of our outstanding staff members here at SLDC, Maisa Sykes and Sophia Garcia. Maisa was announced as a recipient of the Winning in Black recognition, and that award ceremony will be held on October 6th to celebrate her. And then Sophia Garcia will represent SLDC through their Focus St. Louis Emerging Leaders program. So one, again, getting recognition for the hard work that's happening in community that we're doing at SLDC, but also preparing the future leaders of our community. So I want to give a kudos and a shout out to Maisa and Sophia, and also thank them for their support at SLDC and moving our mission forward every day. So with that, that concludes the open agenda director's report portion of the meeting. As I stated earlier, the next board meeting will be a special board meeting held on August 22nd, 2024. So Lise will share the details with the board over the next week. Again, our goal is to have all documentation out to the board members by 5 p.m. on Monday, August 19th, to ensure that you all have a chance to review and provide any feedback prior to the meeting. And then our next regular scheduled board meeting will be held Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 8 a.m. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Sean Spencer.
A motion, I'll second that motion, and I thank you all again for joining us, and I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Thank you.